What's up, everyone? It's Matt Mrozik, aka MVM397, with Freya work in progress number 2. And I've debated whether I should keep going on with this work in progress and posting pictures and videos, simply because my posting on Facebook last night in Resin Maniacs has gone ballistic and south. I posted pictures of my progress on cleaning up the figure part, Freya. And I just mentioned, whenever I do work in progress videos on kits, I'm going to point out the positives and I'm going to point out the negatives. I never want to bash anyone or talk negatively of a company that I think produces a fantastic product. And I think that of Filmy's Girls, I think his kits are very good. I think you get a lot for your money. So I have no gripes with the issues with this kit, and there are issues. Every garage kit, every resin kit has issues. I think the only kit I can say that really didn't have any issues that I built was a Neo grade kit, and it was a very large resin mecha kit. But that was initially a 3D printed kit, and then was produced into a resin kit. Therefore, it was not hand sculpted. This is a hand sculpted piece that's been turned into a garage kit. So you have artist marks, tool marks, and such like that on the surfaces. And the only part that it bugged me, and it's just part of modeling, is on her, because you want her skin as smooth as possible. On the gnomes, I didn't go crazy with making sure I got all those marks out, because actually it adds character to them. They look kind of old. Like these guys over here are wrinkly looking, and they look kind of upset. So those little marks on the skin actually adds character. So everyone's been going ballistic on my thread, and it's gotten to the point where it's kind of bugged me, because you know what, Mark has a great company, his products are awesome. I've been bugging him to sell me a couple other kits that are out of production. I don't know if that will ever happen. There's one in particular I would love to get a copy of, Daphne, simply because she would make a great companion to my Stella kit. And this is only my second resin figure kit, guys. I typically build robots, so I don't have a whole lot of reference to go by as far as what is standard in the resin figure industry. I can only go by with what I have in my collection, and what's in my collection are Filmy Girls kits and the Garage Kit US kits. So, and a couple of kits I bought this year at Wonderfest. So, and they all have issues. If you have a problem with resin kits having issues, don't build resin. Go back to plastic. And even plastic kits have issues. So that's enough about that. I love the kit. I don't feel like I spent too much on it. Everyone's been kind of going off on Resin Maniacs on how they would have returned the kit, or they would have, asked for a refund. And Mark even offered me a partial refund on this kit, and I told him not to do it because I don't feel like I paid too much for it. And I said, if you want to give me a refund, donate that money to some other cause rather than me. So anyway, enough with that. I want to show you where I've gotten so far. So last night I spent a lot of time sanding her skin. And if you follow me on Facebook, you'll see the pictures on Resin Maniacs. There are tool marks, so I had to go through and give her a good sanding. And you can still see some of my Sharpie down in the neck area there. I'm gonna have to get a special bit for my Dremel, because I can't get in there with sandpaper and my sanding sponges. And you can see her pigtails are falling off here. They're just stuck on with some silly putty. So actually, I'll just take those off because they're gonna fall anyway. So other than her skin, cleanup was very easy. The gnomes took about, 15 minutes, 20 minutes each to get to the point where I felt comfortable that they're ready for their first round of primer. And this whole kit will go through several rounds of primer. The first round will be with my standard Krylon Max Gray that I use, and I'll put on probably 3 generous coats, not enough to fill in details, but enough to kind of fill in my sanding scratches and maybe some of the tool marks. And I'll go through and sand out any other perfections that I find. I'll fill any little pits or divots that I see. Like there's some areas here, like on the inner thigh. Like I probably won't worry about that because she's got a loincloth, and I don't know where I put it. Oh, it's down here, sorry. And I'm hand holding this on my phone again just because it's quicker and it's easier for me than doing it on my camera and trying to upload it and all that stuff. So sorry. Let me get this out. It's in here somewhere, I promise. Okay, so she's got this little loincloth that goes in front, which is cool. And I'm assuming that Mark had this kit sculpted in a way that you could have this removable or leave it off. So if you want to do, you know, paint her girly parts, you can. I probably won't because I'll never display it with this off, but it fits in there perfectly. A little bit of a little divot right there. The camera wants to focus. You can see there to the left. A little bit of putty work, that's taken care of. So this thing fits on perfectly. It's a perfect fit. Like little areas like that I probably won't worry about just because you're not going to see it. And this may fall apart because I kind of have things stuck together with silly putty and blue tack. But now I've got her skin looking really, really good. It took some work. I mean, I've spent 3 hours last night sanding on just the upper part, just from the arms down to the waist. I spent 3 hours sanding this one piece. And I spent another 2 hours on it today. So 5 hours just sanding this upper part. But that's what you got to do. You know, if you don't want to sand, don't build models. That's all I'm saying. If you want to assemble models, you know, buy Legos. So anyway, she's looking really good. The back skirt will need some heating, just because it's not. And like the front skirt actually fits really well around the waist. Let's see if I can show you. So I've got a little interference down here right now. It just needs a little treatment with the hair dryer as I hold it in place. And this is really thin, so this will literally probably take me 2 minutes to get this to fit correctly. So that's not a big deal. But that looks good. I lightly sanded that. You can see back here on the back gnomes where I still have some Sharpie. And everyone freaks out because when they see how I work on a kit and it's covered in these red marks or black marks, they freak out. And they're like, oh my gosh, it's a terrible kit. The casting's terrible. The casting on this kit is fabulous. All the details are very sharp. The seam lines are extremely minimal. Part of the reason it takes so long is because there's a ton of details to go through. You know, you have to go into, you know, his little waistband here with the rope, and you have to get into his armpit, and you have to get into the creases right here by his knee. So that just takes time. And when I start working on a kit, it looks terrible. It's all marked up. But I do that to show me the areas that I want to work on and make sure that I don't miss. And the red Sharpie is good because really you have to make sure you get it all off, because if you don't get it all off, it will bleed through your paint. So I've learned through experience. So it's one reason I do use the Sharpie, because it forces me to do a better cleanup job, whereas if I didn't, you know, I might miss things. So you can still see I have some little areas to get into, but again, I need to get a really small drill bit for my, or a little small bit for my Dremel tool, because I don't have the right tools to get into that small area. I think her face is looking pretty good. It took a little bit of time to get in there. Again, I'm moving my lights around here, guys, to try to show you what, but you can see how smooth she looks now. So what I use to sand and prep is I basically use three things. I use 400 grit sandpaper, wet dry. I use it dry. And 3 M sponges. And my two favorites are, for this step, are the fine right here. And this is equivalent to about a 400 grit sandpaper. And the super fine right here, which is equivalent to about a 600. So if you ever go to their website, they won't tell you an exact grit. It gives you a range. I think the fine they say is like 400 to 500, and the super fine is like 500 to 600. You know, it's a range. They don't have an exact grit. So for the first initial sanding steps, I use the fine, and then I follow up with the super fine. And then after my first round of primer, I'll do it with a super fine wet. And then I'll do any putty work I got to do, and then a second round of primer, and I'll just keep going down further and grits with sanding sponges till I get it the way I want. But yeah, so basically, you know, 3.5 nights of sanding on her, and it's not too bad. And I have to tell you that, and I keep saying this because I'm relatively new to figures. I think figures are very inexpensive. I can't get a mecha kit this size in an original sculpt for what I paid for this. It would be 2 to 3 times this much easily, and I'd have to buy it from China, or not China, but Korea or Japan, and pay, you know, $100 to get it here. So for all you figure builders, you have it pretty good. If you ever try building a mech and you build a large mech, you'll learn real quick that you get a lot of money when you're doing figures. And I'll say that over and over again because I've built mechs for 9 years, and they're not cheap. So anyway, she's looking real good. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give her a soak in purple power for a day. I will not soak the base. I found something out the other night on one of the on a mech kit that I'm building right now for a client that I did this. Here, I'm going to take this all apart so I can show you. So we got the little crow. Oh, I did want to show again when I do work in progress. I show pluses and I show minuses. So this crow has a pretty good bubble in it, right there. So that's no big deal. Again, it's no big deal, guys. You fill it in, you sculpt it, and you're done. It's like a 5-minute fix. So everyone that's ragging on Mark and Filmy's girls, please stop, because I think he's a great guy. I think he has a fantastic company and offers a great product. So, and I told Mark on my threads, like, I hope you don't think I'm complaining about your kit, 'cause I'm not. I always show all the pluses and minuses of any kit when I do a work in progress. That way people who may want to build this kit know what they're going to get into. So in no way, shape, or form am I ragging on Filmy's girls. If anything, I'm praising them. So anyway, back to why I'm not soaking this in purple power. So I showed how I did magnets on this guy on the base for their gnomes. Let me get him out of here. And what I did is I did my talc and super glue trick, or baby powder trick, and it's really simple. You just drill your holes where you want your. Oops, sorry, my light just came down, so I'm gonna turn that one off and use this one. Sorry, guys. You can see here that I had outlined where I wanted the gnome's foot, and I marked it, drilled the holes, and I added. I stacked 2 magnets in there. I wanted a really good bond. I did the same thing here. And then in this guy's foot, I've got corresponding magnets to fit. So those are filled with thick CA and baby powder. So I found out the other night from soaking a kit I'm working on right now for a client that if I was to put this in purple power, the purple power will actually soak into this baby powder and eat it. So the base will just simply get a nice scrubbing with some soft scrub and a really nice stiff brush. I may go ahead and put some bleach on it and just bleach it just to make sure I get any of the mold release off, but other than that, everything else will get put in purple power. So again, the gnomes I can't put in purple power because I've got the talc in the bottom of the feet and that'll get eaten by it. But again, purple power is just what I prefer to use to clean resin. I've had some kits in the past that had very, very tough mold release to get off. I've built kits where I've soaked it 3 or 4 times and I still have paint peeling, so I'm neurotic about cleaning the resin before paint. So I use purple power. A lot of people think it's maybe overkill and they just use soap and water in their brush, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So anyway, this is work in progress number 2 on Freya. I'm really excited about getting her in primer and doing the next step, which will be again more refining of any defects and smoothing out of the surface. Again, I'm just going to really concentrate on her skin to get that as silky smooth as I can. All this other stuff that's got some of these tool marks, it's actually kind of nice because if you think about it, this could be made out of leather, hammered metal, and it actually fits very well with the clothing. So I sanded it smooth just a little bit on the chest here, but I'm going to leave some of the marks in there just because I think if I want to, I'm thinking about doing a leather with metal trim. I think I'm not sure what Jim Campo was going for, but he did he painted this part red and the rest is like metal, so I'm not sure if he was going for a leather or maybe like a satin velvet type look, but his looks good. I just think I may try leather. But so the next step is cleaning and then getting into these really small nooks and crannies with a Dremel, and then cleaning her up and getting her in her first coat of primer. So again, this is Matt Mrozik, aka MVM 3897, signing off. Get you guys later.